So now we're ready to build out our mega menu. There are a few new features that we need to activate. So like I said, at the time of recording, this is currently an experiment, and you can also see the statuses of these experiments. So you can see that the Flexbox at this time of recording, which is almost May 2023, the Flexbox container is now a release candidate. So this is almost ready to be released to the main version of Elementor. So what we're actually going to be working with now is the nested elements, which we need to go ahead and activate, and the menu, which is currently both, well, the menu is currently in alpha. So this is at its very early stages, whereas nested elements is currently in beta. So you can see here that the menu is still in its early stages. It is still an experiment, but like I said, I do believe this is going to be a part of the main Elementor within the next few months, by the end of this year possibly. So when you are actually taking this course, this might already be part of the main Elementor, which is absolutely fine. It just means that you don't need to activate this as an experiment. It's already going to be built into Elementor. So with those two new experiments activated, scroll down to the bottom and hit Save Changes. And then we can start building out this header. So as you can see, I've already got a template here. I'm just going to build this again with you guys so that you can see exactly how I did that. So to do that, let's come along to our templates. Let's come along to our theme builder. You can of course select Add New and then select Header, but I'm just going to do it this way just to mix things up. So this is the one that I've just built with the mega menu. This was our original one. So now let's just go ahead and build another one. We can build this from scratch. That's okay. I don't need any of these. We can just select X. We don't need a template. And let's just very quickly get this set up. Now, I'm not going to waste a lot of time with what I'm doing here. I am literally just going to drop a few bits in just so that we've got everything that we need to get started. So container within a container. Once we've got our logo there, of course, I'm going to drag in another container. Within that container, I'm going to drag in our menu. So not our WordPress menu this time. We're going to use a menu, which is going to be our new mega menu. And then we want to drag in a button there because if you remember, we had a contact us button there as well. So get in that container. Like that. So top container, I'm going to flip that to a horizontal direction. In fact, I'm going to reverse that. In fact, no, I'm not going to reverse it. It was the right way anyway. That's going to stay like that. Now, the direction of this top level container, we need to change to horizontal. We can see that it is looking now like that. Let's just drag that site logo to the beginning so that it's like that. And now for this container, we just want to come along and shunt everything over to the right hand side. So this menu, let's just come along that and align that position to the end so that it looks like that. Let's change the width of this logo because at the minute it is way too big. So let's change that pixels to maybe 300 or yeah, 301 is okay. So that is looking like that. If we wanted to set a width here for the top level container, maybe keep that 1200. Or in fact, I'll keep it 1300 because that was what we have as our default width. So something like that. And again, that's something I've very quickly chucked in, right? You guys will want to play around and maybe make that your own. But this, for what we're trying to do here, just for demonstration purposes, is fine. So let's now actually build out and play around with our mega menu widget. So this widget over here, now that we have selected it, under the content and layout, we can see that we have our menu items. So here we can now change stuff like the title, the link that this is linking to. And if you remember, before we had about, services and case studies. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that again now. So we have about, and of course you'd want to add a link there to your about page. Then for the second one, we're going to do services with a link there to your services page. And then the last one, which is going to be the mega menu with a drop down, it's going to be case studies like that. Case stud. Why can't I spell today? Case studies like that. So how do we actually create a drop down? And it is as simple as clicking this drop down content. So we need to toggle this one on. You can see that we get this little icon there now, just beside the case studies. And if we click on case studies and click off of it again, we can see below it, we get this new container. So now we can start dragging these widgets into this container. So with that actual new container opened, let's just go ahead and give this a background now. So this new container up here, going to come to style and classic. I'm going to give this a background color of accent, maybe make that a bit darker so that it's a really dark purple like that. We can see that that's kind of overlapping that section above, which is fine. Let's just apply some margin to the top there. That's just going to add some space between. Maybe something like that is okay. So 22 margin on the top. So now let's start playing around with what we can do with this mega menu. And this is no different to anything else that we have done. So you can now just start using and playing around with this as if it is a new container. You can design stuff however you want and build whatever it is that you need. So I'm going to drag in a top level container there, just like we did with the top header. And inside of that, I'm going to drag in another container. So it looks like that. And then I'm just going to duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. And then that top level container that's nesting them 4 inside, I'm going to change that direction to horizontal so that it looks like that. So now we have these 4 containers that we can build stuff in. So again, nothing new here, all stuff that you know. Let's go ahead and select a background image for those containers. So let's go with this one here. Going to select a classic. I'm just going to use an image that we have already worked with because it's kind of irrelevant what that image is because you're not going to be using that anyway. So again, we want to maybe give an actual fixed minimum height for that. So maybe make that 300 or 400. Let's go with 300. 300. Or we're going to go with 280 actually, so that it's almost square. And now we can drag a another element in. So let's drag a heading inside of that. Let's give that heading. Let's say the last one that we had here was we build services. So let's just change this to we build services. Let's make that a H4. Let's make that center aligned. Let's come to style. Just give this some very quick styling. I'm going to make that primary, maybe a 1.2. Going to change the color there to a white. And then the container that is sitting in. So where are we? We are here. So this container, I'm just going to change the alignment of that. So justify content center and the alignment center. So that we've got that we build services. It could say we build service websites. That's fine. I'm also going to add an overlay to the image. So I'm going to come back to the settings there, add an overlay, make this a black so that it's a little bit darker like that. I'm also going to add a border, not a border, a border radius, maybe soften them edges with an 8, something like that is okay. And with that done, I'm just going to go ahead and, oh, actually, we still need to add a button in there, don't we? So let's just drag a button in, button into there, like so. That can be see more or visit case studies. It could be whatever you want it, or find out more. That is fine. Again, style that button however you want. I'm not going to waste our time doing that together because you know how to do it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this another 2 times. Duplicate, duplicate. Going to delete 2 of them that don't have those background images so they look something like that. So now, of course, all we need to do is just edit the background images of those. So I've now selected this middle container. Let's change that image to a different one. Let's go with that one. And this time, instead of we build services, it could be we build e-commerce. And then for the first one, we can again select a different background image there. Let's go with this blue one. Select. And this time it's just going to be we build blogs. Now you might want to change the styling of that font. We might want to make that a capitalize. And again, you guys can play around with that. And then in this last section, all we want to do, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate one of these headings and drag that into this first one like that. I'm also going to change that alignment to left. And then I'm going to drag in a text editor like that. And again, that's just going to be your text. Let's change that text color to white. Let's change that typography to text. So it looks like that. We build blogs. Let's change that to we can build any website in the world. Quite literally, you almost can build any website in the world right now. So let's just quickly reduce that line height. That's way too high. Something like that. Now that parent container, let's change the alignment to to start, but the align items in the center. Something like that. And there we have it. We already have built out this drop-down menu, this mega menu from case studies. So whenever we select that, this now appears. So let's now start looking at a few more options here. So again, we've got the drop-down indicator. We can change what that little icon looks like next to case studies. If we wanted to upload your own SVG, we can do that. The drop-down effect, I like to have on hover. So as we hover over case studies, this drop-down is going to appear. You can also have that on click. Now we can also apply an animation. I like to have a fade in. It just gently fades that in when we select it like that. Looks a lot nicer. Could make that a bit slower, make that maybe 1 second. So when we select, it takes 1 second to come in. That is a very slow 1 second. That's because I made it 10 seconds. So something like that looks pretty neat. Now the menu toggle, this is of course when it is on a small screen. We've got the toggle there. We can change what that icon looks like if you wanted to. And again, you can change what it looks like in its various states there as well. So I'm not going to go away and just build this out in different responsive modes, in different screen sizes, because you know how to do that. I am literally just introducing you to the world of creative mega menus, all of the different options that we have to build here simply by turning on this experiment within Elementor and playing around with these new features. So that is basically a very simple yet very beautiful mega menu. And of course, for each of these buttons here, we're going to want to add a link to our category pages of our case studies. So all of the case studies that we've already built, we want to go away and just link to them from our mega menus. What am I doing here? Let's come back to keep clicking theme builder. That isn't what I want. I want to go back to manage website, come to our website, because if you remember, if we click on case studies, when we actually click on these e-commerce and blogs, it's actually going to take us to our blogs categories page, our service categories page, and we want to add those same links to these bits here. So now people can navigate our website, hover over case studies, they can click on the case studies and go and see our case studies page, which is obviously this one. And then they can also, from our menu, from the navigation, go directly to the case studies that is relevant for what they are looking for. So again, a world of opportunities here with mega menus. Be as creative as you want, play around with it, build super complex ones like what we've got on Friendly Turtle, or they can be nice and simple like the ones that we have built just here.